In this tutorial, I'll show you how to create a basic 3D screen effect in Premiere Pro. Let's get to it. Here we are in Premiere. I have a simple Wikipedia screenshot on the timeline, and to add 3D effect to this, we're going to open Effects and search for Basic 3D. Then add this effect to the layer, then head over to the Effect Controls panel, and under the Basic 3D, we get a few options that we can adjust. Swivel rotates the layer left to right. Tilt rotates it top to bottom, and distance to image zooms in and out. Now let's move the time indicator to the start of the layer and adjust the values. Let's start with swivel first, so I'm going to give this 20 degree to get this angle. For the tilt, I'm going to decrease this to -15, and then we get this blank space that we want to cover, and we can do that with distance to image. If we decrease this to zoom in until we don't have any gaps, you can see that already looks like a 3D screen. And now if you want something else to be in the middle of the screen, you can use the default position values, say increase the X value or something. We can move it on the X axis, so that is also not a problem, but I'm going to leave it as it is. Now, while we are still at the start of the layer, I'm going to create keyframes for all three. And also for the position, just in case if you need to change the position later. Then move forward almost all the way so that you can see what's happening. And then let's adjust the values. So in this example, I'm going to swivel this to the other side, -15 degrees. And then for the tilt, we can increase this further to -22, why not? And if the blank space starts to show through, we can also increase or actually decrease the distance to image to hide those. And again, if you want something else to be in the middle of the screen, you can use the position values, so something like X position, just drag it over, and that works fine. And then let's select these keyframes and move them all the way to the end of the layer. And if we preview this from the beginning, we will get this simple, basic 3D effect. And to make it more believable, we can add blur, and for this we can use Gaussian blur in effects. Let's search for Gaussian blur and add it to the same layer. And in Effect Controls, make sure that the blur comes before Basic 3D. And for the blurriness, let's add value of 6, so everything is slightly blurred. And now under the Gaussian blur, we're going to select the ellipse mask. That will create an ellipse mask. Make sure you check invert, so whatever's inside the circle will be in focus, and everything outside of it will be slightly blurred and out of focus. Now let's make the mask bigger and place it over the area that we want to be in focus. But before we do, let's move to the start of the layer. Then let's hover the cursor over any square points until we get this arrow, then hold shift, and you can see that the arrow changes, and now we can proportionally scale the mask, make it bigger, and then place it over, whatever you want to keep in focus. In my example, it will be this text. Also, you can increase the feather to something like 100 to soften the edge, and you can see this is in focus, and whatever's in the top left is nicely blurred. And also we're going to create a keyframe for mask path at the start, then go forward almost all the way, and then select the mask so that you can see it and reposition it to keep a different part of the image in focus. So in my example, let's do something like this, and you can see everything that is in the top right is nicely out of focus. And let's move this keyframe also all the way to the end of the layer. And if we preview this from the beginning, here we have a bit more believable 3D screen effect in Premiere Pro. Thank you guys for watching.